Hey guys, my name is True Demon, and I'm the Devil Stockbroker. I want to keep this video short and sweet just to talk to you about what's currently going on with BBIG in its court case versus the Zash Global Media Group, and what this means for investors going forward, what news to expect, as well as the technicals on BBIG so that you are fully informed for your investment decisions going into Monday. BBIG is currently trading on its daily chart in a very, very large descending wedge, which you can see highlighted in the green lines, which are forming a wedge down towards a negative value. Currently, BBIG is just now beginning to form a bullish flag, and just below this descending wedge's border. Given the right catalyst, what I've been waiting on is for BBIG to retest this level and then continue consolidation and breaking out in order to retest previous highs that it had reached before. Well, I am currently speculating that BBIG may now have that catalyst. Out of the last several weeks, BBIG's short exempt ratio, which I've pointed out multiple times, has been absolutely excessive. The number of shorts on BBIG already being in excess is particularly interesting to me and indicates the involvement of a market maker, which you may already know this, but I've highlighted the conflict of interest with Susquehanna before. We won't go back to that, but you can check out the video on that separately if you like. Susquehanna, as the designated primary market maker, who is currently in conflict of interest with BBIG because they are a major investor in ByteDance, the owner of TikTok, which is in direct competition with BBIG's Lomotive, is currently one of the prime candidates or suspects, depending on how you like to look at them, for the cause of these large short exempts. If you're not aware what a short exempt is, a short exempt is when a market maker, because there's no other entity which is allowed to use them, uses a short which has not been located in order to fulfill a buy order made by a retail or institutional participant of the market. Short exempts are used to provide liquidity to the market. You can treat this as liquidity fairy activity. The short exempts essentially are just thin air shares that are generated from nowhere in order to fulfill the buy orders, and then the market maker is supposed to find them later. Well, this has been going on for a long, long time, to the point where 5, 6, even 7% of the total short volume that's been going on with BBIG has been short exempt. The one thing that we know about short exempts is that they only go in one direction. Short exempt volume is only selling. It's only selling volume. We know this because short exempts can only be exempted in order to fulfill a buy order. So it is only ever selling. So keep that in mind. This means that these shares have to be covered at some point. So Susquehanna, or whatever other market maker may be involved here, have been only selling these shares, providing short exempts to the market so that they can continuously provide liquidity to the market, and are slowly burying themselves in orders that need to be fulfilled, orders that need to have shares provided to them at some point in the future. Now, I've looked at Susquehanna's shareholding history on BBIG. They've been a mixed bag. For the most part, they've been long in BBIG. They've held a net long position with call options, mixing puts in for hedges. But for the most part, they've been net neutral on shares. Up until recently, they had a major sale of shares, going down negative 5.34 million shares as of August 15th. They decreased their holdings down to only 871,000 shares. And this change came between May and August. So that means that Susquehanna, during all of this period of selling, everything that we see here that's been going on for the last several months, all of this selling has been from Susquehanna, liquidating shares, all these shares just being sold. Everything that we see here has been, for the most part, Susquehanna. They just had so many shares that they were able to drive the price down, but they had to do it with real shares in order to fulfill buy orders. And now they're running out of liquidity. They're now running out of inventory and have been filling the buy orders with just short exempts, shares that don't exist, haven't been located. Do you see what I'm saying? BBIG on Ortex still shows a short interest percentage of free float of 18.7%, with free float on loan being in excess of 25%. So more than a quarter of this stock is currently lent out to somebody or multiple somebodies. Now, at some point, these shares need to be accounted for and settled. And what I think is happening is Susquehanna has now run out of inventory and has run out of the ability to continue suppressing the price of BBIG. If this continues, then BBIG will no longer be held down, because once the inventory evaporates, once Susquehanna is no longer able to manipulate the price of the stock by continuously selling at market, they will no longer be able to hold back retail from being able to drive the stock to new heights. So between the short interest that we see here, the fact that utilization has been maxed out all the way since April of 2021, or excuse me, April 2022, and only just recently has begun to waver after the price has reached new lows, and we see that shorts are now slowly trying to wheedle out of their positions. This tells me that Susquehanna and the other shorts are starting to break. Their thesis has begun to unravel because they know something. Something is happening with BBIG stock. Many of you have been tracking the court case that's been plaguing BBIG and its stock price as of late. Something very severe has happened recently. So we knew that none of the things that John Colucci, who has basically just crowned himself the king of Vinco Ventures, declared himself the acting CEO with no authority from the board whatsoever, has been misleading the court the entire time. And the most recent disclosure, I want to give credit to Lauren Ross for bringing this to my attention. There was a court case or a court document that was presented by Colucci. I want to read this to you. While defendants were wreaking havoc at the company, defendants being Lisa King and Ted Farnsworth, that's the Zash Global Media Group. While the defendants were wreaking havoc at the company, conspiring how to ultimately take control of company assets and systems, Colucci and Jones, the company's CFO, were attempting to negotiate the deferral of a $33 million payment under senior secured convertible note that was due July 22nd, the quote deferral amendment. The company and the investor ultimately reached an agreement with respect to the deferral amendment. However, the company could not sign the agreement because the condition of the agreement was the company filing a current report on Form 8K. This is known as a company update or a company announcement form, announcing the deferral amendment. Since the company's ability to file a current report on Form 8K was taken hostage and blocked by defendants, the company ultimately made the $33 million payment on July 22nd, resulting in immediate financial harm to the company. This was presented by John Colucci, and this was a fraudulent statement. What he is saying here is that Lisa King and Ted Farnsworth are the responsible parties for damages to Vinco Ventures because they didn't give them access to submit a 8K form. This is materially false, because down here we see that negotiations regarding the amendment, that this is presented by Lisa King, by the way, negotiations regarding the amendment that would delay a $33 million payment to our secured lender stalled when neither former counsel, who had been terminated recently, nor Phil Jones, the CFO, who was on vacation, responded to Palladium Capital or Hudson Bay's counsel's attempt to finalize the agreement. The company's inability to finalize the agreement was not related to its ability to file an 8K. This Facebook post, which was from Jill Jones, who is Phil Jones' wife, posted the whole gang at Star Cider in Canandaigua. I don't even know how to say this. Phil Jones was on fucking vacation on a lake the entire time that this was going on, and Lisa King was present, ready to direct the company to settle this fucking problem, and they blamed her and Ted Farnsworth, and Colucci submitted it in writing. So this means multiple things. For one, it destroys the case that Colucci is placing blame and material losses at the feet of Lisa King and Ted Farnsworth for creating damage against BBIG, that's just patently false. But the fact that he stated this and put Phil Jones as the centerpiece of this, saying that he had to be able to submit an 8K form and that was blocked because of Lisa King, is perjury. It's a lie. He lied in the court and he submitted it in writing. And we can prove this because Phil Jones's wife took a picture of his stupid ass while he was on vacation, not answering his goddamn phone. He was at a family reunion and he wasn't going to be available until several days later after the 8K filing was already due. Honestly, this only places two parties in jeopardy, John Colucci and Phil Jones, because both of them are cited in the document. They've both submitted that they were not responsible in any way for the financial damages to Vinco Ventures, which is a material lie. They lied. They lied in court. They perjured themselves. And it's Phil Jones's wife is the reason why he perjured himself, which I find absolutely hilarious. But that aside, the future of BBIG is essentially secured now because John Colucci's entire argument was based on the fact or the accusation that Ted Farnsworth, Lisa King, and the Zash Media Group was trying to take over the company hostily and create sabotage when they themselves were the saboteurs. And in fact, the only financial harm, which you may recall from my previous video that I did on BBIG, has only been because of John Colucci, who was trying to send payments of more than $5 million to AI pros for services that had never been rendered, empty promises, and no services actually delivered. The truth is that the only ones trying to do financial harm to Vinco Ventures has been John Colucci, and now he's named Phil Jones as one of the other parties that was with him. They have now connected themselves together in a way that places them both in perjury and direct violation of court mandates. I think that what is about to happen is that now the case is about to unravel, and very soon Vinco Ventures is going to finally have the catalyst that it needs to continue to trade appropriately. And now it's coming at a time when Susquehanna no longer has the shares available to control the price. And what I think that rather than this, we are about to get something like this. And it's going to happen soon. I want to preface this by saying that this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and there's no way for me to actually know that this is what's going to happen. But I have a feeling that we're now coming to the end of this court case, which is going to mean the merger is going to continue. The Zash Global Media Group will take control of Vinco Ventures. The future of the company will be secured. We will receive our valuation. Susquehanna will be immediately put in the doghouse, and now will be scrambling to get shares in order to cover their positions. And every share that is purchased by retail between now and that time is one more share that they will not be able to trade with in order to recover their absolutely astronomical losses. I'm going to leave this with everybody to consider for the time being, but I want to thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at the bell, at which point we're going to have a hell of a time in the markets.